28 video for anyone that might have missed lesson 28. I skipped lesson 27. I think we can cover enough here. So the do now for lesson 28 says find the slope of the line. And what does the slope mean based off the variables? Pause me if you want to do it by yourself, and then unpause me so you can see it. But I'm going to keep going to keep the video not that long. It says, so we have to find the slope. Okay. To find slope, we need 2 points. We can see we have a bunch. We get to choose any two. Let's choose this one and this one. I can see that my slope is positive. It goes up and to the right. And it went over one and up one. So normally we would say the slope is positive 1 over 1. And that's what a lot of students do say. But what they forgot to focus on is, yes, it went over 1 square, and yes, it went up 1 square, but to look at what the intervals are on our x and y axis. And you can see that it went from 4 to 6. So that's not a change of 1, that's a change of 2. And our number of songs, our y-axis, is actually going up by 15 each square. So one move here is actually a move of 15. So we have to say our slope is actually positive 15 over 2. So don't get tricked. Make sure you check out the intervals to see what they're changing by. All right. Now, what does the slope mean based off the variables? If there's no, we don't know the variables, but in this case we know that the x are the hours and the y value is the number of songs, our slope starts to mean something a little bit more than just a number or the steepness of a graph. The rise, 15, was a change of 15 songs. And the run, the change of 2, was a chain of 2 hours. We don't have a title for the graph, but we could probably say at this point that 15 songs, we're going to have to make this part up, played every 2 hours. Or maybe you could say that 15 songs downloaded every 2 hours. You get to make stuff up, but our slope does tell us that 15 songs over 2 hours is the change. Cool, so that's the do now. Okay. The homework from the night before was you using the new slope formula to find the slope. You had just the odds. And so this is what it looked like. Hopefully you submit it through Google Classroom. Okay, so this is 4.4, finding slope day 2. Okay, so let's go through it. Scientists are researching the Jamaica Pond, puts new fish in the pond in March. Each month after the population of fish appears to decrease, the scientists come up with an equation to represent the population of fish in the lake after X months. Okay? So this is the equation. And what I want to know is, what's the slope of this linear function? I don't know. We know how to find slope on a graph like we just did in the do now, and we know how to find the slope using 2 points. We don't have those, right? All we have is the equation. Well, guess what? We're going to use what we've already learned to find the slope, because we need 2 points to use the slope formula, which, to remind you, is, and slope, we use the letter m for that, is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. We need 2 points to find the slope. But guess what? We've talked about this. Equations are point makers. They make points. So I need any 2 points that work for this equation. And this thing shoots out points. We just have to choose some random x. I'm going to choose 0 and 1 for x. So we just choose random x values, 0 and 1. We just need to get the y values that go with them with this equation, and we do that using substitution. All right, so if we put 0 in, we get 300. So we've got one ordered pair. Now we just need one more. So I got the other one. There we go. Because we have the 2 points now for this line, we can now actually find the slope. And instead of graphing, let's use our new formula, right? So I'm going to write down the points. Let me do this in a different color. We found 0, 300, and 1, 275. I'm going to label the first pair as x1, y1, and the second pair as x2, y2. And then we can use the formula, which says the second y minus the first y value over the second x minus the first x value. And we can find that our rise is negative 25 and our run is 1. We now know the slope. Negative 25 over 1. Cool. So that's cool because we've been finding points so we could graph equations in Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. And now here we can use that ability to find points so we can actually find the slope. So I have one for you here to try. So can you find me the slope using the same process of this equation? Pause me, okay? I'm going to keep going, or follow along with me while I do it. Okay, so we need 2 points. Well, some students say, Mr. Moran, why don't we just use tic-tac-toe? And I say, that's great. We can find the x and y intercepts. That was what we practiced the last couple lessons before this. So let's find the x and y intercepts so we can use those 2 points to find slope. And we call it tic-tac-toe because it kind of looks like a tic-tac-toe board if you remember. So we'll put 0 in for y. And that will tell us that our x-intercept is 8. So we got one ordered pair. Now we'll put 0 in for x. And we find that y is 20. So we have our y-intercept. Okay. Now we have 2 points. We can find the slope. And this is where students say, well, Mr. Moran, which one's x1, which one's y1? And what I tell them is it doesn't matter. Let's call the first point we use x1, y1, but it actually doesn't matter. So it says take the second x, second y minus the first y over the second x, which is 0, minus the first x, which is 8. And we find that our slope is 20 over negative 8, which is negative 10 over 4, which equals negative 5 over 2. All of those would be great. That's our slope. And we found it by finding 2 points and then using the slope formula. And because I'm by myself, I can't really answer it. So I just made a classwork for you to work in groups on, and you had to submit them, right? So you're finding the slope using the slope formula, and then just some more of that, and then you do it here. You know, if you want to start with 12, 13, 14, that might be great because we just showed you how to find the slope. You got to find 2 points for each of these and then use the slope formula. Okay? But that was a chance for you to practice this. And then your homework was listed as well. So let me know if you have any questions. You know, shoot me an email. But that was lesson 28. Whoops.